Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Welcome to English grade 11. Students, I hope that you are doing well. Today we are going to cover our lecture number 1B of English 11. So let's talk about our learning outcome today. Students, I hope that you are pretty much aware of direct and indirect speech. Today we will learn about different rules that how we can convert and change from one speech to another. So the learning outcome says change tense in indirect or direct speech, and these tenses are, as we already know, present, past, and perfect tenses, future, and then we have models, time and questions, orders, requests, suggestions, and advice. So in all these different scenarios and tenses, we can actually change the tense from direct to indirect and vice versa. And we do it in narrative paragraphs where we are narrating something, maybe narrating a story, maybe narrating an incident, an event, an experience, and so on. So in order to write such narrative paragraphs, we need to know and we have to have the skill of changing direct into indirect speech according to the tenses. So let's straight away start the lecture. Here is your vertical linkage. It links your SLO with the previous grade. And before we move on, students, I would like you to think about it for a moment. In today's brainstorming session, we are going to take up this question or prompt. You have to think of a recent conversation or any talk you had with a friend. Now, imagine retelling that conversation to someone else. Now, how are you going to do it and what is your approach? How would you change the verbs and the way you report what was said if your friend asked you a question? So now you're going to talk or retell something, a conversation or a talk in a different way. How you gave your advice or made a request. Try converting some sentences from direct to indirect speech. Now, by pausing the video, I would like you to do this activity. Give me a direct sentence, direct speech, and then transform it into indirect when you're telling it's to somebody else, a third person. Now, how would you do it? Take your time, write these direct speech sentences and try to convert them into indirect speech where you are directly telling something without the quotation marks. All right, students. Now, let's read the lesson about direct and indirect speech. They are opposites, they are contradictory. Both your direct and indirect speech are methods to narrate the words spoken by a specific person. So this is all about narration as we read in the learning outcome. The only difference between them lies in how they are constructed and in the purpose of using them. So their construction, the structure will be a little changed, and what is the purpose of using them we will learn today. Now, if we talk about first direct speech, in a direct speech, the actual words of the speaker are quoted explicitly. You are going to quote somebody using the same words of the speaker and you are going to retell in the same way. When you do it, you will say that you used direct speech. It is often used to relay something being said in the present tense. It can also be used to recall the exact words of the speaker when retelling a previous conversation. You can recognize a direct speech instantly because it has a text enclosed in a set of quotation marks. And when we have sentences with quotation marks, we know that this is a direct speech because the purpose of using quotation marks is to tell the exact words of the speaker or your words as well if you are narrating any experience or event. Now, that whole text which is enclosed in quotation marks, that would be called your reported speech, because you are reporting the speech as it is. So in direct speech you have reported speech. And what punctuation mark is used, or punctuation aid is used? It is the quotation marks at the top of those whole sentences or whole different series of sentences. Now, here are some examples. I read the first one for you. Now I'm telling somebody else. Look, I am telling Ali. Sarah said, I want to go to school. Now, this is a reported speech, a direct speech, because it is enclosed in quotation marks. And he said, I am unwell. He said to me, what are you wearing? So, your question mark, your punctuation mark of question can also be included in your quotation marks. Now, here students said these are your reporting verbs. Now, reporting verbs say, ask, answer are not necessarily placed before the quoted text. You can also place them after it. So, it means that he said, I am unwell. You can also say, I am unwell with quotation marks with he said. So, you can use these reporting verbs at the start or at the end. Now, in indirect speech, this is usually used to relay what was being said by the speaker without directly quoting the original words. Now, you will use your own words, but the message has to be the same. The message should not be changed. In this case, the tense of the sentence is typically changed. It means that we are going to work with tenses over here. The reporting verbs such as say, tell, and all these are used as an introduction. The words of the original speaker will not be enclosed inside the quotation marks. So, no quotation marks will be used in indirect speech. Instead, we will replace these quotation marks with the word that, and we use it to connect the reporting verb to the reported text. Now, this is the theory, a very good explanation of an indirect speech. For example, now you can notice that there are no quotation marks. Sarah said that she wanted to go to school. We replaced quotation marks with that. And Sarah says she wants to go to school. It will become Sarah said that she wanted, because it is in the past, to go to school. He said that he was unwell. Now you're using your own words, but the message is same. You're removing the quotation marks, replacing them with the word that, and this is how you create an indirect speech. All right. Now, there are some rules for conversion, or conversion rules for direct speech into indirect speech. Let's learn each rule one by one. First, if the reporting verb is in the past tense, the tense of the verb of the reported speech is changed to the corresponding past tense. For example, if we have a direct speech, direct sentence, she said, I'm happy. Now, she said, this is in the past, but when you are converting it into indirect speech, you will use the past tense. She said that she was happy. Not I am happy or she am happy. You will use it. You will use was. Secondly, the tense of reporting speech remains unchanged if the reporting verb is in the present or future tense. Here, let's say our reporting verb is in the form of present tense. She says, or will say I am going. You will convert them into indirect by saying she says that she is going. Now, you used the present form of the helping verb. In reporting speech, tenses do not change if the reported speech has a habitual action or universal truth. So, if something is happening out of routine, out of habits, or it is a general or universal truth, then you will not change the tenses. For example, he said Lahore is a city of Punjab. He said that Lahore is a city of Punjab, not was. Was will be incorrect over here because indeed Lahore is a city of Punjab. It is a general recognized truth. So you will not change the tenses. Next one, you have rule number 2, where you, for direct speech, it can be presented in different tenses: past, present, or future. It depends on when the actual words were spoken and when the reporter is retelling them. For example, simple present will change into simple past. I am sick, she said. She said that she was sick. This tense is in the past form, and you will I am sick. This is the present form, and when you are converting it and when you are using the indirect speech, you will use the same, you will actually change it into simple past. Like she said that she was sick. This tells us that it is in the past form. Present continuous becomes past continuous. Simple present will change into simple past, present continuous will become past continuous, present perfect will become past perfect, present perfect continuous will become past perfect continuous. These rules are very simple, these sub rules or sub points of rule number 2. Let's look at an example. I am playing the piano, she said, she explained. Now, I am playing the piano. We know that this is a present continuous tense. You will convert it for the indirect speech. You will say, she explained that she was playing the piano. You actually converted it into the past continuous. And you can read the rest of the examples. The rule is very simple. Change it, but you have to change the tense. And if it is continuous, then it will always be converted into continuous for present and for present continuous or perfect as well. Now, students, now let's put the theory into practice. Let's understand and test our knowledge. You have to read the following sentences in direct speech. All of them are in direct speech, and change them into indirect speech. I said to my mother, I'm not going to school. Now, how will you change it? Yes, I said to mother, I am not going to school. I said to my mother that I was not going to school. We know that this is in the present continuous tense. And this is a negative sentence. You will just convert it and say, I said to mother, remove the quotation marks by adding that, and then change it into the past continuous. I was not going to school. So this is how it goes. You have to solve question number 2, 3, 4, and 5 by yourselves and test your understanding of a simple conversion. Now, in the same way, if you have a sentence in the simple past in direct speech and you want to change it into indirect, you change it into past perfect. Simple past becomes past perfect. She said, Irfan arrived on Sunday. She said that Irfan had arrived on Sunday. It means we are using our past perfect. Similarly, past continuous becomes past perfect continuous. Past perfect remains unchanged. We do not change past perfect. Past perfect continuous also remains unchanged. So these two will not be changed. They will be as they are. All right. Simple past, if you have a sentence of direct speech, reported speech in the simple past, you will change it into past perfect. She said Irfan arrived on Sunday. She said that Irfan had arrived on Sunday. You will use past continuous for past. It will become past perfect continuous. Past perfect remains unchanged. Past perfect continuous also remains unchanged. So these rules are actually repeating over here. I have revised for you. Now what you're supposed to do is change these following sentences one by one and convert direct speech into indirect speech. The scientist said the virus had been killing people. Now, we will not change it. We will say the scientist said that the virus had been killing people, and that's all. Now, how do we change future tenses? If reported verb is in the past tense and reported speech is in the future indefinite tense, what will you do? You will change it into would and shall change into should or would. Will change into would, will becomes would, shall becomes should or would. Now, the author said to the publisher, I shall give you my best work. Now, this is in the past tense and we know that this is in the future indefinite tense. You will change will into would and shall into should. The author told the publisher, said will become told, that he would give him his best work. So all these different pronouns, possessive pronouns, will also be changed. If the verb is in the past tense and reported speech is in the future continuous tense, will be changed into would be and shall be changed into should be or would be. The example is given over here. And all these rules, if verb is in the past tense and reported speech is in the future, what can you do? You will have changes into would have, and shall have changes will convert into should have or would have. Father said, I shall have tea later. You would say, father said that he would have tea later. Well, shall have changes it to would have. So these are very interesting rules, very complicated rules a little bit, but you have to memorize all of them by practicing the given exercises that you can see over here. And if you have verb that is in the past tense and reported speech is in the future perfect continuous tense, will have been changes into would have been, and shall have been changes into should have been or would have been. The old man said, I shall have been fishing all day. The old man said that he would have been fishing all day. So just by memorizing the rules, you can apply them in your sentences, change the reported verb, and change the pronouns as well according to the situation, according to the tense. Now, you have to read the following sentences and change them into indirect speech. Now, what do we see in the reported speech? The man said the birds will have been migrating to the south. Is it in the future? Yes. The reported verb is in the past form, but this is in the past continuous, past perfect continuous. So we will change it. All right. Now, in case of these different auxiliaries, helping verbs, will change into would, can becomes could, may changes into might, past remains unchanged. You will not change it. For example, for the first one, he said the test will be difficult. He said that the test would be difficult. We will change will into would. Can will be changed into could, may will be changed into might, and could will be not changed. It is as it is. It remains the same exactly. Now, students, at this point, you can pause the video, go through the slide maybe few seconds back in the previous slide, learn all the description of the description of these rules and what is to be changed and what is not to be changed, and then you can come over here and actually put that into practice by solving these given sentences. And this is how we are going to learn each and every kind of rule and their sub rules by a lot of practice. Now there is a fourth rule. When your sentence begins with interrogative words, with questionary words, with such as what, were, or all these, then no conjunction is used after the reporting verb. For example, where do you live? Asked the boy. The boy inquired where I lived. So no conjunction is used after the reporting verb. It means we do not use that. That is not used over here. We are excluding any kind of conjunction. If your sentence has a question, has an interrogative word, and it begins with an auxiliary verb, the helping verb, we use the conjunction if or whether. For example, she said to us, will you come for the party? It will be changed into, she asked whether we would come for the party. Now you will remove this question mark. You can see there is no question mark over here, and we are using conjunctions. Conjunctions like if or whether. Here we have used whether. So this is our conversion of rule number 4. Reporting verbs such as said, said to changes into asked, inquired, or demanded. So you have been seeing in the previous examples, like said will become asked. Asked also becomes inquired. He said to me, what are you wearing? I would say, he asked me what I was wearing. So said to becomes asked. Now read these interrogative sentences and change them into indirect speech, just as we learned in the previous slide. All right. So here again we have some rules. He ordered me to polish his shoes. Please close the door, said the teacher. Now let's take this one. Please close the door, said the teacher. The teacher asked to close the door. We removed please and we actually converted it into asked to. When we are talking about, now this is when we are talking about ordering or commanding, etc. When we are talking about request, reporting verb is changed into another verb. For example, ask, request, plead, or beg, and the inverted commas are omitted. No conjunction is introduced. The verb of the reported speech is changed to an infinitive to be. For example, he said to her, please help me. Now, this is a request. So you would say, he requested her to help him. All right. So we are not using any kind of conjunction over here. No conjunction is used. When you are advising, you would say, you will remove the inverted commas and no conjunction is introduced, and you will change these reporting verbs into suggest, urge, forbid, warn, or advise. Now, this is all about advices. He said to me, do not waste your time. This is a very valuable advice. You will convert it, he forbade me to waste my time. Said to becomes forbade. Who is he telling? Me to waste whose time? My time. So this is how you convert the advices into the indirect speech. You will solve these questions as a classroom activity, as your homework as well. And sixth rule says that the reporting verb, we know what reporting verbs are. This part of the reported speech. When they are changed to exclaimed with joy or happiness, or exclaimed with sorrow or disgust, depending on the mood of the sentence. The reporting clause and reported clause and the reporting and reported are connected with the conjunction that. So it means we are using that. He said, what a beautiful flower it is. He said will become, the reporting verb will become exclaimed, because this is all about mood and expression and showing feeling and disgust, etc. He exclaimed in a very loud voice with admiration that it was a beautiful flower. So that is also used, and then you convert it into the past form. In an exclamatory sentence, what you do, he said, alas, we have lost the match. Alas here is an exclamatory sentence. You can see the exclamation mark over here. We will say, he exclaimed with sorrow. Alas becomes with sorrow. That conjunction, they had lost the match. All right, let's talk about interjection. All these words that we use for showing emotions or disgust and etc. An interjection is a word which expresses some sudden feelings or emotions, as you can see. Hurrah is used for joy or happiness. Alas, sorry. So what you're going to do is you are going to convert them accordingly into these words. If somebody is saying in the reported speech, hooray, we have won the match, you will say, he exclaimed that in a very joyful way that they have won the match. So this is how you're going to convert the exclamations and interjections in your indirect speech. Now, this activity is for your solving. It's like a task. Now, we are at the end of, this is the second last rule, students. So be prepared, be active for this. The reporting verb is changed into words such as wish, desire, or pray. The conjunction that is used. Yes, we are going to use the conjunction. He said, may you live long. Now, what is this? This is a wish, a pray, a desire. This is a prayer that somebody is giving somebody. Now, you will convert the direct into indirect speech by saying, he prayed that I, because he's asking me, he's praying for me, I might live long. May becomes might, and then the rest of the sentence. The optative sentence is changed into an assertive sentence. When you have an optative sentence, you will convert it into an assertive sentence. For example, he said to me, may Allah bless you. He wished me that Allah might bless me. This is how you change an optative sentence, a prayer, into an assertive sentence with positivity and present tense. All right. These are all the words that you find in your direct speech, and this is how you convert them into your indirect speech. Now, if you have now, then it will become then. If you have today, it will become that day in where you heard that, or the day you are talking about. Yesterday will become the day before. So these are all the conversion words that you need to be taken care of. Now, we will use the reporting verb such as say, said to in its correct tense. For example, she ordered me to go to the class. Now, she said, come to the class. This is our direct and this is our indirect speech. She said, come to the class. Now, asking somebody to come to the class is just like an order. Maybe it is given by our teacher. So we will say, she ordered me to go to the class. Not come to the class, but go to the class. So it will change according to the tense, in its correct tense. Insert question mark, quotation marks, or exclamation marks and full stops based on the mood of the sentence. He inquired whether his name was Ahmed. The direct speech is, he said to him, is your name Ahmed? And you will remove the question mark according to the rule and just say he inquired, because he was asking. He inquired whether. Whether is our conditional, whether his name was Ahmad, and then you will end it with a full stop, not with the question mark. We remove the conjunctions where they are necessary. Where the reporting verb is in the past tense in direct speech, change it into present tense in direct speech. So the reporting verb, if it is in the past tense, in the indirect speech, we will change it in the present tense in our direct speech. The girl said, now these are the rules that if you are given indirect speech, how can you convert them into direct speech? So the rules are, again, they are new, but they are also very much similar. The girl said, I am happy with my results. We will say the girl said that she was happy with her result. My result will become her result. She was, am happy will become was happy. Now, change the past perfect tense either into present perfect or past tense as necessary. So if you have an indirect speech in the past perfect tense, you will change it into the present perfect tense. They told me that they had done their work. This is past perfect tense. We will convert it by changing the reporting verb into a normal. They said, comma, then the quotation marks. But because students, for direct speech, for reported speech, quotation marks are very much important. So if you are given an indirect sentence, indirect speech, and you are asked to convert it into a direct speech, then you have to remove the conjunction that or others and change it into quotation marks to make it a reported or direct speech. Now, you have to take a break, pause for a moment, and solve these given sentences. And all these activities are also given where you have to solve them according to the question. You can find it in the book as well. Here is your worksheet for which you have to change the direct sentences, that direct speech, into indirect speech for your practice. Thank you, students. I hope that we have covered all these different rules of conversion, keeping in mind the tenses from direct speech, which is a reported speech, into indirect speech, which requires a lot of different rules. So far, we have seen 8 rules of converting from reporting speech to indirect speech, and we have also seen some rules where if we are given the indirect sentence, indirect speech, how can we take it back into the direct speech? There are some rules, so note them down, practice a lot with the given activities, solve the worksheet, and we will meet in the next lesson. Remember, students, the direct and indirect speech, according to the tense, these conversions are very much important. You have to memorize and work on each and every rule that you have learned today with me. I hope that I'll see you in the next video lesson. Till then, do your practice, solve the exercises, take care of yourselves, and Allah Hafiz.